What's up, everybody? It's your man, Steve Parker. And as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in to the Steve Parker Show. Would you do me a big favor and share this video? We're going to be disseminating some very important information as it pertains to longshoremen. I have been a proud member of Local Number 10, the Longshoremen's Union, for over 20 years. And we are very vital to the community, to the commerce that comes in and out of the ports of Oakland, San Francisco, and comes from around the world. And so just like everyone else, the coronavirus has affected us, our workplace, and our members. So I thought it would be important for me to invite two of the presidents of two of the locals of our membership to come and talk to us about where we go from here. So all longshoremen, please share this so all of our brothers and sisters can get this information. The first young man that is with me, he has been a longshoreman for many years, third generation longshoreman. And when I first came out, I would always see this guy running around and fighting for the union and talking loud about all of the things that we need to change. And now he has ascended to the presidency of Local Number 10, and that is Mr. Trent Willis. What's up, Trent?
Hi, everybody. How are you?
This next young man, he has been a longshoreman for many years as well, and he's been fighting and a proponent for the Longshoremen Union as well for a long time, and now he is the president of the Clerks Union, which is Local 34, and that is none other than Keith Shanklin.
Hi, how you doing?
I didn't tell Busters, everybody got a nickname on the waterfront, and Trent is Buster, and Keith is
Buster Jr.
Buster Jr. His daddy's Buster Sr., and Shank is Shank.
Thank you.
So welcome, gentlemen. I thought it was important for us to come and sit down and address some of the very important things that are going on in the world and on the waterfront. And first, Trent, why don't you just tell me a little bit about, how you got down here and what a longshoreman is and what the waterfront means to you.
Okay, so for me personally, I've been on the waterfront 25 years, been a member, a proud member, as like yourself, for 25 years in the International Longshore Warehouse Union, Local 10.
Yes, sir.
I've enjoyed a pretty good life because of being a union member here. I became a member in 1995.
Yeah.
And I signed up through the unemployment department, just like everybody else.
Wow.
I was placed on the list, and I waited, and I came in as a casual and worked my way up. All the way to president.
Yes, sir. You've been doing some work, Doc.
I've been doing some work.
Yes,
this
sir.
is actually my second time
Serving
serving as president.
Yes, sir.
I've been the business agent for our local, I believe 9 times.
Yeah.
I've been a caucus delegate 6 times. I pretty much served every position, including vice president, with the exception of secretary treasurer. I never ran for secretary treasurer or dispatcher, but I've run for numerous committees and boards.
Yes, sir.
Executive board and grievance committee and that kind of thing, steward council.
Yes, sir. So what is a longshoreman? People out there be like always asking, what is a longshoreman?
Right. Well, we don't want to confuse longshoreman with union member. Those are two different things. But a longshoreman, it comes from the word along the shore man.
Wow.
And that's what we used to be called many years ago. And the word kind of manifested itself into one word, into longshoremen. And we're basically stevedores.
Stevedores.
And we are responsible for, in basic terms, we offload and load ships, cargo ships.
That's right.
Whether it be containers or breakboat cargo.
Breakboat cargo. Very good. Keith.
Yes, sir.
Tell us your history, man, in this wonderful union. And by the way, we are in the house that Harry Bridges built. He is the one who organized very, very greatly this union and all the people who are in there. So tell us about your time as a longshoreman.
Well, just like Buster, me and Buster, we came in together. 25 years ago, we were standing in line, waiting to get into this beautiful organization, the ILWU. And we have enjoyed some of the spoils of the ILWU, but we also just have dealt with some of the heartaches, which is, we lose members. But to say one thing about this union, we're a brotherhood. We stick together. We have to fight the fight, and we have to keep things on an even keel. Because if we don't, we fall off on one side, and this side hurts. We fall off on that side, the other side hurts. We have to come together as a union. And like what you said, the difference between a longshoreman and a union. A union is a union which is strong and built as one. We fight together. We've always fought the hard fight. Now, I'm of the first generation. I came in by myself, but I wasn't by myself. When I walked through the door, I had brothers and sisters who were willing to help me and show me how to be safe. And that's the most important thing down here as a longshoreman, is to be safe. Because when you come into this industry, it is very dangerous.
Yep.
But one thing we all say when we get to the docks, we come in together, we leave
out
together.
together.
That's right.
And that's the most important thing. And we have to have each other's back. And if no matter how much you might not like me, but you better love me when it comes down to leaving out this gate.
That's right.
Because I'm going to be there at the end of the day, just like you are. Because I got your back, and I want you to have my back.
That's right. An injury to one is an injury to all, is our slogan here at the Longshoremen's Union. So let's get into the coronavirus and how it has affected the world. Governor Newsom went on last night for a mandatory lockdown for the 40 million Californians to stay in the house, basically. And so we've been deemed essential workers because what we do, we bring in the vital things that you use every day, toothpaste, medicine, you name it, we bring it in. Hand sanitizer. Toilet paper. It comes in through those ports, through us. And so it is vital for us to continue to do that so we can still live and still function. But Trent, I'll start with you and I'll ask you, since the world is shutting down and there is a risk of us getting this virus, where do we go from here? How do we respond to Governor Newsom's mandate for all of us to stay in and not work?
Well, first of all, I'm going to say something a little different from Governor Newsom. The port is essential, but in the union's eyes, it is the union members and the port workers and the community that's essential.
Yes, sir.
Starting with the longshoremen, because like you said, the Port of Oakland specifically is a major artery that supplies goods throughout the whole state.
Yes, sir.
This area is a major rail hub with a direct line straight to the main rail hub of the United States, which is Chicago. Mm-hmm. So there's often goods that leave here after we unload them mm-hmm. and go to many different areas throughout the United States, in particular agriculture goods. As you know, California is the leading agricultural
yes, sir.
State.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we basically in California feed the rest of the country, which makes the rail hub one of the most important rail hubs in the entire mm-hmm. country. Mm-hmm. So with that said, you can see that how imperative it is that we continue to disseminate cargo.
Yes, sir.
Okay. The only difference is, and the thing we have to make sure is that we are doing those jobs safely and that we are completely protected from being exposed to the coronavirus. Mm-hmm. We're still having the same challenges that we've been having with the employers over the years, which you're aware of. Mm-hmm. Our employers seem to be more concerned with profits as opposed to lives. Mm-hmm. And basically this is why the union even came about, because back before we were organized, longshoremen used to be killed on the job.
That's right.
On a daily basis.
That's right.
A longshoreman would be killed in an accident on the job, and they would just take him out and replace him with another person.
Else, right.
And there were no safety provisions. This union was responsible for the first unified safety code in 1947, and we still have it today.
Yes, sir.
The Cal OSHA manual is patterned behind our safety code. So this union has a very proud history. I'm very proud to be a third generation longshoreman.
Yes, sir.
My dad was a longshoreman, Buster Sr.
Buster Sr.
And my great uncle, who helped my father get a job down here. So we are very essential, not only to the dissemination of goods throughout the country, but we're essential to being a vanguard for workers.
Yes, sir.
All around
Yes,
the world.
sir. And they call on us all the time when they have
Absolutely.
issues in different unions, SEIU. They always call on us because they know we're going to come and we're going to fight and we're going to stand with them.
We're always going to fight for workers' rights. We don't care what color the workers
That's
are,
right.
what religion, denomination you're from. The ILWU is an equal opportunity
Absolutely.
representation.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Keith, you know, we get goods from China, from Japan, from all of these countries that now are like having a catastrophe with the coronavirus. So some way, indirectly or directly, we may come in contact with something or someone who may have been exposed to the coronavirus. What do you say to the people who are listening and how you feel we should go forward?
Well, we've taken measures to make sure that our members are safe, but we want the employer to take more stringent measures to make sure we're safe.
Yes, sir.
You know, they want to offer us towels and gloves and wipes down. That's also but we want to go a little further. Let's get in depth. You know, let's clean our equipment before we get inside. Let's make sure that the keyboards are wiped down. Let's make sure that the steering wheels are nice and clean. Give your people who are going to go do these essential jobs the tools to do the job.
Right.
Just don't have do it. You know, there's other ways you can protect your members, right? And the way we protect our members is by telling the employer put the right things in place. So when we get to the job, we don't have to be looking for something to do this with. You should be able to come to us and tell us exactly what we need for this job. We need to come in here and go right to work, because guess what? These goods are very essential to get to where they got to go. Some of these things have shelf life. Some of these things got to be where they got to be. People are expecting us to have these things there because that's their way of life. We offer the standard way of life. If it's not on the shelf, guess what? People say, "Oh, well, they let us down." We're not in that business.
That's right.
Okay, we're like 7-Eleven. We're always open.
Always open.
They're always open. And we gotta deliver.
Yes, sir.
You know,
and Trent, there is already a cleanliness problem with because we use all of these equipments and all of the soot that comes out of if you just take your hand and wipe it across, any of the equipment that we use, I'm sure it will turn black. I mean, when I first started working here, I'd go home and I'd take a shower and I'd put the towel in my nose and black stuff would be, also. We have always had a safety issue. So how more important is it for we to make sure that these employers clean this stuff out, give us a fresh, clean slate with all of the equipment, and then we can start taking measures to protect ourselves from the coronavirus?
Well, the first thing I want to make sure that I state that it's not just about the equipment, it's about the facilities itself. Because we're talking about bathrooms and offices.
Yes.
We're talking about landlines, telephones. We're talking about trucks, tractors, top picks, cranes. We're talking about the whole facility. And the longshoremen are not in a position or have the resources to make sure that all of these facilities are thoroughly sanitized.
Right.
So what we want to see happen, and I'm glad you mentioned the black soot that longshoremen sometimes find coming out of their nose and stuff like that. That was the reason why you were here. We demanded that the employers start using shore power for the ships, because what that black stuff is mainly diesel particulates that come from the ships running their engines while we're working, and you see the smoke coming out of the smokestacks. Comes from the machines that we operate that run on diesel fuel that are running 24 hours a day. And the most important thing that we have to understand is that it's not only us being affected by those particulates, it's also the community in West Oakland. And that's why you can go anywhere in the country, and most of the time the ports are located in the poorer parts of the counties and the neighborhoods where a lot of minorities live.
Yes, sir.
And then they get affected by cancer and different debilitating diseases that take people's lives.
Yes, sir.
So we want to be clear that we are always fighting for not only representation for the longshoremen to be safe, but we're also looking out for the community.
People in the community.
Right.
Yes, sir.
That unified safety code that I mentioned earlier, and I would like all longshoremen watching this to please refer to your safety codes and learn what's in it. Because we have successfully negotiated over the years protections as far as Section 3 of the Unified Safety Code is called the employer's responsibilities. And it talks about what the employers are responsible for providing for us, not what we're responsible for providing for ourselves.
Wow, okay.
You understand? So once again, we're in a situation where not only our employer, but employers all over the world who care nothing about the safety and the lives of the workers, but more about their profits.
Yes, sir.
The union is here to make sure that we balance and get the employers to pay more attention to our lives as they're making their billions and billions of dollars, which we don't mind helping you do that as long as you pay us properly, you respect our conditions, and our lives are protected while we're doing it.
That's right.
The coronavirus is just another example of the employers trying to get away with not having to spend the money, which is equivalent to a nickel as compared to what the employers make on a daily basis.
Right.
If they spend another nickel to make sure all of our equipment and facilities are sanitized, then we would be a lot safer. Now, the problem with that is, and the most alarming thing that the employers are not recognizing by not being proactive, is the risk. Okay? Not only do you risk longshoremen spreading the coronavirus amongst ourselves, okay, but we can also be spreading the coronavirus amongst our families, and even worse, throughout the community.
Absolutely.
We don't want to contribute to spreading the coronavirus. Okay, if enough longshoremen contract the coronavirus, the port would have to be shut down.
Absolutely.
Okay, then all of the supplies that we need for basic life that we are so spoiled. When we go to stores that are readily available for us, those things could possibly not be available to us because of the port being shut down.
That's right.
Okay, so that's why you hear the governor saying that the ports are essential to basic public human health.
Yes.
Okay, the union's position is that the union members and workers are essential because we are the community.
Yes, sir.
And that's what we need to realize when we're going to work every day, and we want to get our elected officials who are supposed to be representing us to realize that also.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said. The other week we had a cruise ship that had some coronavirus, people who had been affected by the coronavirus, and of course that's our job. We also unload cruise ships, people from the cruise ship, and it was docked right here in the port of Oakland, and a lot of things happened that week. A lot of us were a little leery of how we were going to do this, but shout out to all the longshoremen. We showed up and we stood our post and stood our ground so that we could help these people who are people too get back to their families. But there was an issue with the trash that you had addressed, and I want to see what came of that, because what your concern was, there was the trash that they took off that ship, which could have been infected and tainted. Instead of taking it somewhere else, they were going to take it to the inner cities and unload it there. Tell us about that, Trent.
Okay, well, basically, I need to rewind a little bit. The longshoremen in this area, as well as up and down the coast, we work the passenger ships. The Grand Princess was just one of them. Princess Cruise Lines, Carnival. We work those ships, and we basically do jobs as far as loading and offloading baggage for the passengers. We load stores. We call them stores. Food, provisions, and drinks, and anything, the medical supplies, and all of the things that the passengers need to have a quality of life on board the ship. So we were informed that the Grand Princess was turned around, and this was in early March. We were informed that the Grand Princess was turned around and was supposed to call the Port of Mexico. And they had some people showing signs of the coronavirus. So the Port of Mexico said, well, you can't bring that ship here.
Right.
So they turned it around and they came back to the Bay Area. And our members had worked that very same ship on February 21st, as well as February 11th. Okay, there was actually a passenger on that ship that disembarked on February 21st that later died from the coronavirus. Okay, so we're still investigating as to whether Metropolitan Stevedoring Services, which is the stevedore company that
Yes,
we
sir.
work for
Metro.
when we're doing those jobs, we're still investigating whether they had prior knowledge to this passenger having the coronavirus before it docked here on the 21st. But fast forward to early March, when we were informed that the ship was coming back, we had a JPLRC, which is a Joint Labor Relations Committee meeting with the employers.
Right.
Where
So that's everybody sitting at the table.
That's everybody sitting at the table. Brother Shanklin was at the table with us because of we're Local 34 is our sister local.
Absolutely.
Local 75, which represents the guards, and Local 91, which represents what we call walking bosses, who oversee the operations
Foremen.
every day. Foremen, right. They oversee the operations. We all met with the employers, and we talked across the table about our concerns about working this particular ship. So to make a long story short, fast forward to the trash, along with other items that we requested, full Trivex suits while we're working the ship, dust masks, and eye protection goggles. We talked about the trash because, as you know, Berth 22 is not a traditional passenger ship terminal.
Right. It was makeshift just for this particular.
It was makeshift just for that particular ship. So we were concerned about what was going to be done with the trash. Usually the ships come to Pier 27 here in San Francisco.
Or 35.
Or 35. And the barge comes on the side of the ship and they dump all of the trash on the barge. They don't take it and dump it in the city.
Right.
They dump it on a barge, and then the barge takes it to a controlled site, and I believe it's incinerated. So this particular ship, Berth 22, we wanted to see that same type of operation happen, where it's in particular because of the trash being possibly exposed to the coronavirus. Okay, they had 21 people on that ship confirmed as having the coronavirus, 19 crew members, okay, and 2 passengers. Okay, so we were definitely concerned about what was going to happen with the trash. It was agreed at that Labor Relations Committee meeting with all of the locals that trash would be handled per barge and shipped to a secured, burned place to be incinerated. There was an attempt to change that agreement, which from being a member here that the Longshore Union is the first line of defense for the community.
That's right.
Okay, not only ourselves, but for the community.
Absolutely.
And the partnership between us and the community is very strong.
It is.
And so when myself, Brother Shanklin, and other union officials in this area heard that there were plans to then dump that trash onto the dock, put it in trash bins, and truck it somewhere in this community and dump it, okay, we became very concerned about that.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And we did all we could to stop that from happening, whether it be basically getting in the way.
That's what we would do.
The cargo.
We stand up in front of the trucks and not let the trucks go by.
Yeah, we contacted all of our community contacts, community leaders, and our elected officials. We went all the way to the governor's office with it, and we were successful in forcing the employers to do what they agreed to.
Good. Very good. Very good. So Shank, we now again we're coming up on this decision, and you guys have put out a letter to the membership. We have a press conference at 2:00 today. What would you just say to the longshoremen, man, to encourage them going forward? I mean, with all the concerns and the high anxiety, what would you say to them so they could be assured that they'll be okay as they come to work down on the waterfront?
Well, if you leave it to the officials like Mr. Buster and Billy, local 75, 91, and 10, you have to understand one thing. We are going to make sure that the employer do the right thing, by the contract, and we're not going to cut anywhere. We're not cutting down anything. And if anything, we're going to ask for more because we are essential to get this job done. And if the employer continues to want to go down the wrong path, we are not going to be the one. If it comes to the point that we have to take our labor off the docks, then that's what we'll do. But we will not work with inadequate safety procedures in place. You must do the right thing. We are not going to let our members go into any kind of position to where they are compromised. It's not going to happen, and we're not going to let anybody do that to our members. We vowed to protect our members, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to protect them at all costs.
So Trent, let me ask you, thank you, Shank, very well said. Let me ask you this. Our contract book and our safety code is our Bible.
Right.
Okay? We every few years have contract negotiations with the employer. Is pandemics or epidemics, is it covered in the safety code? Is this something outside, of what we normally see? Because this is unprecedented in our time. I mean, so is this in the contract? Is it addressed in the contract, or we will have to negotiate something else outside of this?
Well, it's not addressed in the contract specifically. It does talk about situations of force majeure, which means that acts of God, basically, not that I'm calling the coronavirus
Right,
an act
I
of
got
God, but the contract talks about, and it basically talks about force majeure situations that are like one-day situations, like a bad storm,
Right.
or maybe a fire, or something like
Or when
that.
the fog is heavy and nobody can see or something like that.
Right, force majeure situations. But the as far as addressing a ongoing long-term pandemic like the coronavirus, it does not address it. That's why we've had so many meetings with the employers to implement steeper safety measures. As far as the safety code, it doesn't mention pandemics specifically, but it covers enough in the safety code to cover this situation.
Okay.
Like I said earlier, Section 3 of the Safety Code covers this completely. It
Okay.
talks about the employers being obligated to make sure that the equipment is safe for longshoremen to operate in all operations on a daily basis and shift-to-shift basis. And we are trying to hold them to that. It's the same as the Grand Princess. There was an agreement there, and the employers tried to break it. There's a long-standing agreement since 1947, meaning our safety code. The employers are trying to ignore it and have us to basically make our own equipment safe, which is outrageous. That would be the same as, which you know what I'm talking about because you've been an operator of a tractor before, for example. Say you go to a terminal and there's something wrong with the tire on a tractor. Are you issued a tire iron and a jack to change your own tractor tire or your own top pick tire? That's absolutely ridiculous. The employers are responsible for making sure that that piece of equipment is safe for us to operate and make them these billions of dollars they make
Right.
on a daily basis because of us.
But is it not true that we have allowed them, to cut corners and not, provide us the safety, the cleaning, and all of the things that we need for so long that they have gotten used to it and we've gotten used to them not doing it?
Sadly, we have in some areas, and I blame that solely on the miseducation of members.
Okay.
And our lack of educating our members as to what their rights are.
Yes, sir.
A lot of times we have younger members that are coming in, and we have to be steadfast in
Yes, sir.
educating them as to what to do on the job. A lot of our members think that it's good enough just to elect a union official and go to work.
Yeah.
That's not good enough, okay? In order for a union official to be effective, our members have to be following the rules and regulations so that we can defend that.
Yes, sir.
In other words, when there's an unsafe situation on the job, whether it be even a dirty bathroom, okay, we have in our safety code that the employers are responsible for cleaning bathrooms.
Yes, sir.
If our members stand by on safety, which is their contractual right under Section 11 of our Pacific Coast document, our contract. Then it sets off a grievance procedure, which then your union officials come and defend you. Okay? Too many of our members are not educated in the process, so they think that calling the union official maybe after they got off work, after they noticed the unsafe situation, that's not the thing to do.
So what should they do immediately?
If there's an unsafe situation on the job, for example, the machines not being disinfected when we get there, we stand by until they do that, okay? And then when they refuse to do that, then you call your union official, which is me and the other elected officials, BAs, right, business agents, and we come out and defend your right to stand by on safety.
That's right.
Until the employer lives up to their obligations under the written document.
Yep. Y'all heard that. Make sure you read Section 3, Section 11 also.
Section 11.
Come to your educational meetings, the executive board, all of the different meetings, the steward council meetings, so you can, we had to learn, before we got our A-books, we had to know who died for this union, Howard Sperry and Nicholas Du Bois. You wouldn't get your book if you didn't know that vital information. So please, our younger members, come on out, and our older members, let's come to the union meetings. Let's get quorum so we can start dealing with the things that are at hand. I gotta thank my man, Trent Buster Jr. Willis, for being here. My man Keith Shanklin, president of 34, president 11. We got a press conference. You guys stay tuned. I appreciate you tuning in. Please share this. But you guys say a prayer for the longshoremen, because we want to be here to help you guys get all the things you need, and we want to be safe while doing it, right, guys?
Right, we all we got.
We all we got. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned to Steve Parker Show. Make sure you share this. Tune in tomorrow. I'll be on KBLX 102.9 from 6 to 10, and on Sunday I'll be on KDIA 9:30. I got to plug myself, right?
Yeah. And I want our members, just lastly,
Yes, sir.
Brother Parker, we need to utilize all of the tools that we have to get our position out to the public and to our elected officials. I want to commend Brother Parker. I'm very proud that he is a member of our ILW family here.
Yes.
I want to recognize all of the locals, Local 75,
Yes,
91, 34 members. We here. We're fighting for you.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate Brother Keith Shanklin here. We promise to stay together and to continue to fight as a unit, but we need your help.
That's right.
Absolutely need your help.
right.
We are ineffective without our brothers and sisters. So please, brothers and sisters, take heed to this
right.
show and continue to support Brother Stephen Parker.
Thank you, man.
Allow us for us to help you. You got to help us. Thank you very much.
Right on. We're going to show you some of the people who used to be longshoremen before we got here, and we are standing on their shoulders now. That's our board right there of our brothers who have gone and sisters who've gone on before us. Right on, man.
Right on.
Good job.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
We didn't call you to sweat too much.
That would have caused me.
Because now you know what the culture about is that one person, two people in Wall Street shut down Wall Street.
All right, we out of here. We'll see you guys next time. You guys stay tuned, and I'll be back at you in a minute.
Shut down.